All right, guys. We're gonna go over step two. We did step one. I did an intro, and then I did step one. And in this video, I'm gonna go over step two, which is we set the intention to not respond to this experience in a way that would cause emotional or physical harm to others and ourselves. And first of all, let's discuss why the phrase "we set the intention" is used. When someone has an intention to do something, it's not an immediate action. It is, however, a dedication to act upon something at exactly the right time. And oftentimes, in moments of grandeur, especially, we make sporadic decisions that we mean well in the moment, but when the grandeur fades, we struggle upholding that decision. And then we go through a cycle of shame and hypocrisy and a feeling that we let ourselves down. But when we simply set the intention to do something, we're putting something beneficial and nourishing on the back burner of our minds. It's not a decision to immediately follow through with an action in the current moment. It's a dedication to follow through with an action at exactly the right moment. Okay. If we never set the intention to do something, it will never get done. Right. So essentially, it's the beginning of a series of events where the appropriate mindset begins to be cultivated to tackle a proposed action effectively and efficiently. All right. So let's move on. I identify as a targeted individual, and I am no stranger to fear. And very few people on this planet will fully understand the immense distress placed on the mind, body, and emotional state of a person that finds themselves engulfed by this phenomenon. And let me make a very clear distinction between fear and scared. Scared is when you enter a seemingly empty house or home, and your relatives pop out from behind furniture and scream surprise, and scared is when you open your shed door and a rat comes darting past your leg. Okay. Fear, on the other hand, is a consistent sense of impending dread that threatens your very livelihood, right? Fear suggests innocuous concepts and environments mean you harm, as if the world itself is out to devour you. Okay. It's a state of mind, not a point in time. And the sheer terror of takeover was often unbearable going through this process. That song Master of Puppets by Metallica was no longer attributed to drug use or addiction. When faced with the dreadful realization that every aspect of my emotional, mental, and physical makeup can be manipulated and controlled by someone, something else, it was an emotion of undiluted fear. There's nothing like it. That reality hit me like a Mack truck, and there was nowhere I could run and hide. And apart from taking my own life, which was out of the question, there was nothing I could do to stop it. I went through bouts where it felt like my entire life's accumulated negative biochemical makeup was being regurgitated from somewhere like deep, deep within, forcing me to feel decades of shame, anxiety, and pain in a matter of minutes. I mean, I could be having dinner at a restaurant or at the movies or going for a walk. It didn't matter. The anxiety begins in the crawl space of the consciousness, and it just comes and boils upward through the first, second, and third floor, eventually blowing out the attic and the chimney stack. I had nights where I literally put my head through bathroom doors, screaming, "Get the fuck out!" at the top of my lungs, and my girlfriend would hide behind bedroom doors for the night. It was terrifying. I remember nights being on all fours, shaking my head like a pit bull that has a tire in its mouth does, just because it was relief. I feared for myself and my family. So, how do we avoid these embarrassing moments without omitting the fear that we feel onto others? Right? We notice when it's coming. Often there is a very slow build of anxiety placed on the mind with accompanying voices, and they'll mimic or comment on every single thought that you have. And if you don't hear the voices, rely on the sudden shift of mood. Maybe out of nowhere, you're experiencing a misplaced irritability or finding faults and harboring unnecessary resentments on undeserving people and events. This is a pretty clear indicator of the beginning of that build. If you do hear voices, they are often whiny and annoying or condescending in their tone. And this will go on for hours or maybe even the whole day, with the intention being that your climax is an overwhelming impulse to display a verbal or physical outburst. And when this happens, we're often embarrassed at our own behavior and left wondering why we behaved in such a way. And I've noticed that the impulse has a verbal or physical response that is already set as a trigger. And that trigger is complete with implanted imagery. It's an image of the very reaction that they are attempting to get you to reach. When you feel the slow build of anxiety or the merry-go-round of voices are beginning, like a repetitive pattern of annoyance, immediately envision the climax. If you allow this to play out, what is your typical response? Okay. Hitting yourself in the head, screaming at the top of your lungs, maybe substance abuse to dull the senses, punching the wall. I've been there. Often, when you envision the climax with your eyes closed, it will literally, I mean, literally, visually flash across your mind. Do not respond and let the moment pass. Once you envision what your typical impulsive response would be to this tactic, then think about the physical and emotional aftermath had you allowed it to get that far. You're embarrassed, your family is frightened, your friends are worried, you feel defeated. Then be thankful. Be thankful that you did not allow it to get that far and be ready for the next round. All right. So it gets easier every time that you do this, but be mindful always of its initiation. These voices go from friend to foe in a matter of sentences, right? Especially in the beginning stages of this experience. Always remember they exist to overcome, not to become. And let me say that one more time, just so it's very clear. They exist to overcome, not to become. That is their purpose. Be mindful to never personify those that torment your mind, lest you torture others in becoming a directed energy weapon with your own words. So, reality for a targeted individual is the awareness that everything, including your thoughts, is potentially manipulated. We'll get into that in another step as well. But with awareness of such a reality, how do we shield ourselves? Right? Our hatred is used as fuel. Our anger is exaggerated to hurt others. Our confusion is spun out of control until we make fools of ourselves. Our impatience leads to hypocrisy. Throughout my journey, I have noticed something that they do not manipulate. Ready? Love, compassion, gratitude, empathy, kindness, forgiveness. Okay, these qualities we have to work twice as hard as others to achieve during this tumultuous time. Yet, it is the laborious acquisition of these qualities against all odds that amplifies them once we achieve them. We learn to value these attributes and understand why the term unconditional is an adjective for these traits. Yes, there are entities that persistently attempt to sway the TI mindset against itself and others through delusional and grandiose thinking. We must stay strong and toe the line of equanimity, distinguishing harmful, unrealistic perceptions from beneficial, uplifting ones. You do not have to be the cause of their effect. If your mind and your character is under attack, then fall back on that which is unconditionally unmanipulated. Love yourself and others. Forgive yourself and others. Be thankful in the face of anguish and watch it diminish. Start doing little things, man. I mean, it takes 5 minutes out of your day to anonymously encourage another person that's in pain online. Help each other. Share your turmoil. Share your stories, your triumphs, and share your hope. You do not have to struggle in mental solitary confinement. So, in the end, what I let go of was my response to their antagonization. It's the cycle of cause and effect, and I learned that I am not required to be the effect of other people's causes or their causes. My fear of provocation always stood to engage my fight or flight response, and that fear only existed due to my inability to handle my own emotions. I used to lay on my back and say this to myself over and over again. This emotion is not of me. Although it is in me, it is not of me. My environment does not call for this to exist. This emotion, like all others, is temporary and it will pass. I have no attachment to this emotion. Saying that when hit with the extreme evoked states of emotions helped tremendously. And I hope it does for you as well. My biggest adversary was thinking that I was no use to anyone, and I can't stress the importance of reciting mantras while going through this. Saying mantras to yourself over and over again creates a state of mind that serves as an offensive and defensive measure simultaneously. So try saying this to yourself as well over and over again. I exist to love. I exist to forgive. I exist to overcome. I exist to be thankful. I exist to help those in need. It takes time, yet time and consistency are change's greatest notaries. All right, gang. Thank you for watching. And in my next video, we're going to start getting into some heavier material that needs to be thoroughly understood, which is step 3. We came to understand that our mind is under observation. All right. Take care and God bless.